Hi everyone, welcome to Lightning Web Components, or LWC for short roadmap. Thank you for attending the session, and thank you for anyone watching the video for listening to it too. We're very excited to have you here to share with you some of the new enhancements and features coming in LWC in 25, giving you some demos and deep dives. So before we start, this is a forward-looking statement. What that means is we're going to share some stuff that's going to be still in development. So we want to make sure that no business or purchase decisions are based on what's going to be discussed in this session. Thank you. Thank you for being a Salesforce customer. Thank you for being a Salesforce developer and using Salesforce in your business. Thank you also for the great feedback you've been sharing to us across the years, whether through Idea Exchange or the survey we send every year. It has been really helping us shape this roadmap. Hi everyone, my name is Ahmed. I'm a Director of Product Management in the platform in Salesforce.
I'm Shalini. I'm the Director of Product Management for Mobile Platform Experiences.
And I'm Greg Weber, Senior Director of Product. I made sure to wear a hat so you could pick me out.
So what's Lightning Web Components? So if you are a new developer in Salesforce, welcome. This is the right place for you. We love to have you here using our modern web platform to be able to build your components, whether through code or clicks.
Thanks, Ahmed, for sharing all the goodness that LWCs bring with it. The good news is that everything that Ahmed just shared is also applicable when you build for mobile. So let me start with this question. How many of you have already built for mobile or are planning to build LWCs for mobile? Oh, I at least see a few hands. So if you're considering to build LWCs for mobile, the thing that you should know is that we, at Salesforce, we offer multiple ways of building your LWC mobile experiences. So if you see on the left, we offer a low-code approach using our out-of-the-box applications, such as Salesforce app, field service app, and mobile publisher app. Our mobile platform provides you all the tools and features that you can use to build seamless user experiences. For example, Nimbus plugins to access device-native capabilities. And then you also have ESLint programmatic validators to validate your code when you're building. So with all of this, you can build the code without having a lot of knowledge about code. So the second approach here you see is a pro-code approach, where you can build LWCs with code and use the SDK for the same. So next, Ahmed will share some new features in LWC.
Thank you, Shalini. So let's dig into some of the exciting features that's coming in 25. So first of all, every year we send a survey asking you what are the top 5 capabilities you would like to see in LWC. Thank you for taking the time to fill that survey. Look forward to it. We're going to send it this year after TDX. Please take the time to fill it out. Last year's survey was showing that state management was the top asked feature. The great news is we're going to have it in depth review in summer 25. We actually have a demo in the Lightning Web Component booth. Please check it out. The second one is local dev. I'm very happy to share that it's currently G8 for app in spring 25 and beta for sites in spring 25. Next, Greg is going to take us into a deep dive in local dev.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Out of curiosity, I mean, I assume the majority of you here, some of you are maybe learning them, but how many folks here work with LWC components already? Okay, how many of you, I'm looking forward to hands. How many of you love, like, when you make a change, you get to deploy it to the org and hit refresh to see the changes? Wait, there's a few of you. Okay, all right. I feel like that's almost a joke to an extent. Also, so let's just go ahead and dig into ultimately what this provides us to do. First of all, I think it's important to note it is GA. Local dev for apps is GA. It's monumental to an extent, given the other one has been in beta since 2018. Anyways, but it provides you with that instant preview, that feedback loop, so that you're not having to make a change, deploy to the org, hit refresh. Anybody that's worked with CSS, that one pixel bump, 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 bump is very annoying. Even at the booth, I heard people saying, oh, and by the way, you have to clear cache, all these wonderful things. but it's up to 6 times faster. Additionally, between beta, so we announced this at Dreamforce, between beta and this GA, we've actually made improvements to it, so manually having to install the certifications for mobile, for example. Hats off Shalini and the team making that happen so that you'll quickly see in our demo that you're not having to do that. That said, this is TDX. You guys don't want to see slides. Let's actually jump into a demo here. Okay, I swiped. There we go. Okay, cool. So basically, I need to start here. So first, if you are working on your sandbox org as of Spring 25 and you type in local dev, you'll quickly see that there is a local dev button. When we click this, you'll see that there's basically a toggle. It's super complicated. You would toggle this on or you toggle it off. When you toggle it on, you get this wonderful yellow banner up above that basically tells you you're in local dev mode. So now if we swap back over, what you end up doing is you do this SF Dev Lightning app. So let me switch over to my other bash here. So what you're gonna do is SF Dev app. We have app, site, and in a minute, I kind of teased it, you'll see component. But if we hit enter here, it's gonna talk to that org we're already authenticated with. We'll choose our form factor. Then basically, which app do you wanna open? I don't know if you know this, but the 3 of us actually run an excursion company on the side. Feel free to come out with us whenever you want. So we're gonna show you that application that we've built. And we're gonna jump over to zip lines because that's what's coming up next. What we're gonna focus on is this wonderful component down here where we're basically going over the different people that are coming. So if we swipe back over here, cool, we've got their names, but we all kind of know this, the executives and stuff, we gotta butter them up a little bit. So like what we're gonna do is we're gonna add in the title so we make sure they get that exec treatment. So if we save it and then we swap back over, you'll see instantaneously it's there. No deployment, no changes, nothing, no up, refresh, so annoying. So we were able to do that instantaneously. It doesn't only work for HTML, of course. Maybe Betty got scared. We decided Betty's like, you know what, I'm not gonna go. We'll exit out of that, we'll hit save, we'll go back, Betty's no longer coming. Of course, you probably within Salesforce wouldn't hard code that, but it's just showing the power that you basically have JavaScript HTML. That said, we don't only support just desktop. Shalini, why don't we go ahead and see if we can do something with mobile?
Yeah, definitely. So the same experience that you just saw for desktop is what you're going to experience when you use a mobile. So you type in the same command and try to select the other form factor, which is mobile, and that would, and when you select the device type, which is iPhone 16 in this case, it loads your simulator. And in this simulator, you'll see the same website, same experience. Let's navigate to this same LWC component here and try to make some change. And as you can see, the local dev preview is also enabled here, and that is on the top banner here. Let's try to make some change to the, let's remove the background here, or maybe put a pink background here, actually, and see what happens. There you go. So instantaneously, with just a save, you get the change. You don't need to deploy and refresh and waste your time waiting for that refresh to happen. And this is a seamless experience, and you really save a lot of time when you're developing those LWCs.
It's super powerful, especially as you can see it's side by side. Anybody doing responsive web design, especially wanting to test directly on the native device via the simulators, you're actually seeing that live instantaneously across both. Super powerful. We probably won't keep the pink background, but I'm not a designer. Maybe I'll deploy it that way. So let's go ahead and jump back into our slideshow here. Cool, we've got a demo. That said, we announced this at Dreamforce. Already 300 monthly active users in Lex. In sites, we have 190 with over 1.2 million component swaps already actively occurring. The important thing, remember I said it is up to 6 times faster. It's important to note that that's over 4,100 hours, dev hours that we've saved. So trust me, this will make your lives easier. Anybody that's worked basically in any other industrial context knows that hot module reload and that quick feedback loop is valuable. We've gotten wonderful positive feedback that, hey, with this new experience is so much better. Having the simulator side by side, being able to iterate quickly but across form factors is kind of game changing. That said, we're not perfect. You all said, hey, we still need individual component previews. Those of you, out of curiosity, who's been using local dev from 2018? Okay, so only a few of you. When we tried to deprecate it, it was basically like no, the original. And basically what that allows you to do is, most of us, when we start building out a solution, you start with the individual components, you build out from that, and then ultimately you're going to integrate within Lex or mobile in that context. So we, like normal, went to work, and this is where we're going to show you an additional demo. This one we're going to run SF Lightning Dev component. And you'll notice it gives me just a component list. To make it quickly for me to find the component, I called it a single component. We'll launch that, it spins up. This should look fairly familiar. We made it so that you don't have to restart your server. All of your components are right here. You can quickly find them via filtering. Myself and the wonderful Sue Berry, who's in the audience, will be giving a talk tomorrow afternoon. I know it's last, but you know what they say the best for last. Basically going in detail on this. That said, some people at times may just prefer, if we go over to single component here, may prefer actually Sue to just give the talk. So what we're going to do is we're going to save that. We're going to go back here and you'll notice instantaneously you have that HMR. One of the things that I am super excited about as well, right now we're calling it performance mode. We're debating whether or not to go to advanced mode or something of that nature. But it's so annoying to have to debug all of Salesforce UI if you have a performance or accessibility or all those wonderful things. This brings it in isolation completely, so you can open up your dev tools, you can debug it, make the changes there, then integrate in Lex, same testing. It's just super powerful. We're completing that full end-to-end scenario.
Those were some cool demos, Greg. Now let's switch gears and talk about some of the important features that are very specific to mobile. So the first one in the list is Nimbus plugins. Nimbus platform, as a lot of you might be aware, is a platform solution that we offer to you so that you can build LWCs which can access device-native capabilities such as camera, geolocation, document scanning, NFC, etc. These plugins have been out since quite some time, and we have been continuously enhancing them based on your feedback. So for our barcode scanner, what you can do today is you can also scan a driver's license and parse the driver's personal information and get that data into Salesforce. If you have documents or business cards that you want to scan and extrapolate the data and get that data, you can do that today in Salesforce app. And then because our barcode scanner has been so much in demand, we have also enabled that as a flow in our experience builder. So if you are building mobile experiences for mobile publisher, you can go ahead and use this new flow component and build LWC flows that leverages our barcode scanners. So mobile offline scenarios, like I'll talk about mobile test harness here. As we know that mobile have been primary touch point for all of the users. And when we are building for mobile, an important consideration is to build for offline, because your customers want to get the work done even in cases when they do not have proper internet connections. So Mobile Test Harness is an app that we have built for you to be able to debug LWC components for mobile offline use. For our out-of-the-box mobile offline applications such as Salesforce app or field service app. We have added briefcase integrations, which means you can debug LWC components which access data offline. You can also get network tracing, basically detailed logs for data that is going up and down the server. And you also can test your LWCs with quick actions. Now, I said that it is important to be able to build and optimize for offline, but at the same time, we also realize that this could sometimes be tricky, especially when you are dealing with code which has Apex or GraphQL queries. So for this very reason, we have built ESLint programmatic validation for you. And what ESLint essentially does is it analyzes your code and gives you valuable feedback about problematic patterns in your code. So for example, if you are using Apex calls in your LWC components, it will guide you towards better alternatives which support offline use. So why not just see a quick demo of how this works in action? So let's go back to our same example for Coral Cloud experience site. Let's this time assume that the field agents have asked you to build a feature for them to be able to access customer review records on their mobile devices when they are on field visits. So as a developer, you are really excited about building this new feature for them. You have this custom object here and also the fields. But what you forgot to notice there is a field called comments, which is exceeding the 32 KB limit. So let's see what happens when we build the GraphQL query. So here we have the query. We are trying to retrieve the experience name and rating. And so far, everything looks good. But when you see the comments field, you see the squiggly line over there, which shows you the warning that this field's value can exceed 32 KB. This is not an ideal case for mobile offline use. And that's the reason your performance might degrade. So the beauty of this process right now that you just saw is that you have this feedback right when you're building your LWCs. And you can take the corrective actions right away without having to waste your time deploying buggy code and then fixing it. So the result is, of course, happy customers and no more unnecessary bugs. So with that, I'll hand it over to Ahmed for Lightning Out.
Thank you, Shalini. So Lightning Out is actually another feature that has been in beta for a very long time. We're very excited to announce Lightning Out 2.0. Before we go there, what is Lightning Out? So Lightning Out has been a way for our customers to basically embed Lightning Web Components into their third-party host applications without having to rewrite their code, move their LWC to some other format, migrate their data, import or export to do anything. So it has been in beta for 8 years, but it actually has been used it has over 1 million views, page views per day, and it's used in thousands of our orgs. Our customers have been loving it and have been asking for it to be GA'd. So we're very excited to announce Lightning Out 2.0 is going to be GA'd in the second half of 25. Let's dig a bit into what's Lightning first. What were some of the applications we're using for Lightning Out? So, for example, one of the applications is embedded chat. So inside your current host document, you have a chat with Salesforce where you're able to reach out to the Salesforce support. Other examples is in Gmail or Outlook where you have an Lightning Out in there with Salesforce where you're able to access your records and stuff like that. Last but not least, Salesforce Map where you're able to bin your accounts into different locations in the map based on where their geolocation is. So, as we mentioned, Lightning Out 2.0 is going to be general availability in 25. It's actually going to be beta in summer, and it's going to be GA'd after that. As we're building Lightning Out 2.0, we wanted to focus on security, so we're building them using iframes to give a hard boundaries between the host application and the Salesforce application. We have also been focusing on performance boosting, so we're building it in Lightning Web Runtime. Greg is going to talk more about that next, which is actually giving much better performance than the current web framework. Also, we're using CDN to speed up the fetching of the components from the caching and async loading to do that. Last but not least, Lightning Out gives you the ability to customize your components inside the Salesforce to match your host using SLDS or SLDS 2.0.
Perfect, awesome, thank you so much. As many of you know, we've been hyper-focused on performance over the past year with the Lex Performance Initiative, but we've also been very focused on consumer-grade experiences. Both today and tomorrow, there's actually an in-depth talk by some wonderful Commerce Cloud colleagues of ours on this. But we just wanted to get into it. Like, I love this quote from a customer where, you know, hey, the site is basically loading in 3 to 5 seconds. Our customers expect it sub-second. Like, I mean, I don't know how many people use the internet these days, but man, nobody has any patience. And so it's one of those things that it's important for us to move it, but it's not just about that qualitative insights, it shows through quantitatively as well. So ultimately, if we're sub-second, marketing landing pages show a 3x conversion, which is kind of the reason you're building those, right? Commerce storefronts, for every 100 milliseconds, 1.1% of revenue shown. Increase. Self-service portals, again, sub-second, you get 24% lower abandonment rate, which again is going to lower, ultimately, your call center and all that wonderful stuff that you guys have to do. So we're super excited to have been working on this initiative. And ultimately what we've seen, this is actually from D2C, the commerce storefront. Basically, there's the homepage and the product detail page. And the homepage, we didn't even put a number on Aura because it's just too large. ultimately to put there. But you'll see with LWR, we have 4.4 seconds. In experience delivery, which is ultimately what this is running on, is 2.2 seconds. This is using the industry expectation of largest contentful paint. So a lot of times you'll hear EPT said by us, but this is the industry expectation. So for example, the industry considers 2.5 seconds as good, which improves your SEO and all those different things. On the product detail page, which is a more complicated page, LWR was at 6.2 seconds, and you'll see LWR with experience delivery at 2.9 seconds. It does this with server-side rendering and CDN and all these wonderful capabilities. Again, it's easy to say some things on a slide. It's much more fun to just see literally between winter and spring wonderful efforts that have been occurring between these two. We're gonna buy sunflowers. At least I call them sunflowers. The titles on this is terrible. There you go. I mean, it's as simple as that. It's like it's the easiest demo ever as we wait for the other one to even come in. Again, there is some differences between the templates slightly because the left one has been server-side rendered, the components have been uplifted. We're still waiting to know if we're even buying sunflowers. There we go. All right, so it's one of those things that it's super, super powerful, and the performance ultimately, again, leads to that. I think it's important to know that you see that 2.2 seconds versus Aura and LWR, basically you're saving 5,800 milliseconds. So remember the revenue statement I made at the beginning. Like that is a non-trivial amount of benefits there. We already watched the demo. So super excited. This is GA for net new D2C templates. You will be running on this. You get it out of the box for free. We do have, so if you have a bunch of your own LWC components, you do have to do some uplifting, but you're gonna see up to 60% improvements. Again, I feel like that demo just tells the story for us. Improved SEO, since we're using server-side rendering. As fast as the crawlers can crawl, your data is available. It's there, so if you change prices, you add FAQs, it doesn't matter. It will show up ultimately in the search engines. Also, we're adding this on a more enhanced CDN, so it's giving you still the SOC 2 compliance that you expect for your consumer experiences, but also the capability of custom firewall rules for your sites, as well as the capability for PCI compliance, and then also the capability of custom firewall rules, which is just remarkable. As noted, it's GA, but I'm also super stoked, so please go use this. It's open beta for BYO templates. Go into administration, turn it on, hit publish, you'll be able to use it as well. So dig into that. We're super excited about that. We're hoping to go GA with that this year as well.
Cool. It will not be a session about LWC without talking about the exciting new AI features that's coming in for our developers. First of all, we would love to introduce Agentforce for developer. We actually talked about it in Dreamforce. It's for short A4D. It's currently a VS Code extension that comes to your, you use it in your VS Code. What we're doing is we're gonna be adding some wonderful capabilities in there. So the first capability we want to talk about that's really gonna boost your developer productivity is the ability to generate jest tests for doing basic unit testing or functional testing in your component. Basically, A4D is gonna scan your code, analyze it, and start writing tests for you. The second one is actually the ability to do some LWC uplifting. For example, mobile offline is gonna be one of them.
So mobile agents transforming your code for mobile offline use. Why even care about it? Well, the code that works perfect in a desktop online environment often fails silently when used in a mobile offline environment. And that happens because those components are not built with offline capabilities in mind. What Agentforce will do for you, it will not only just scan your code, analyze it, and find issues in it, but also refactor your code and make it compatible for offline use. We are building this ability right now and planning to release it in summer 25 in beta, so stay tuned for that.
So, sorry, can you go back? The Jest test is actually going to be available in spring 25. There's a different session about it tomorrow called the Agentic Tools. So please attend that to learn more about the use cases in there. There's another two exciting features we're working on, which are going to be available in summer 25. The first one is the ability to actually take your Aura legacy code and convert it to LWC. So again, A4D is going to realize your Aura code. It's going to actually write the LWC code for you. We have a demo about that, giving you some sneak peek in it. It's not ready yet, so there is no VS Code extension. We're going to talk about that. But the second most exciting one is actually the ability to use natural language to create new LWC components from scratch. Again, we're going to give you some sneak peeks about these, but please try to attend the session tomorrow. So setting some context here, what we're going to show is we have an Aura component internally. We have been using this tool to convert some Aura legacy components to LWC. We wanted to show you a live demo, but since this is still in development, there's a lot of variables going on, and there's overload of testing and so on. So we recorded a video, and we're going to walk you through it. So what we're looking at here is an Aura component using internally in Salesforce. It does a force record ID fetches to fetch some fields in there. As you can see, these are the fields that's being fetched. So it's fetching, simple record loading, and so on. There is some, CSSing done in Aura about the layouts of the table and how it looks like. There is a meta file associated with it to be used in the builder. What we're going to do, as I said, the VS Code extension is not there, so we're going to run some CLI command to do this. As we start, you can see this directly. It's actually empty. There's no LWCs in there, which is what A4D is going to do for us. Cool. So A4D is done. There is actually 4 files in there now. There is a meta file, which, as you can see, it matches what was in the other meta file in there. It also added the versioning, the API versioning, which is updated basically from 41 to 62, and added some of the records being fetching in there. The JavaScript file is actually this was the original one. It added a CSS file in there with some formatting, that's matching it. And then the most exciting one is the JavaScript file. It's doing all the correct imports in there. It's doing get records basically as a wire call, fetching the records needed, defining all the function that's there, allowing us to basically have an end-to-end component migration from Aura to LWC. And if you use this with the other capabilities like just testing, you already have the testing in place too. Cool. The next one is a demo for the prompt to LWC. So as this is still in development, we're not going to do a natural language. What we're going to do here is have an incomplete LWC component with some to-dos in there, and basically A4D is going to analyze that and generate the code for us. Cool. So we have a very simple component in here. As you see, it's an LWC new component. The imports are not really complete. It's doing some get records, fetching some data in there. Here is the current fields it's fetching: name, email, phone, and don't call to be in the registry. It's doing some early processing, but more importantly, you can see there is 2 functionalities: handle delete and handle update. They don't have anything in there just to do delete and update. That's all it has in there. What A4D is going to do for us is actually going to try to generate that code for us and fill all of the gaps in there and actually fix some of the stuff that's missing up there. Cool. So again, we're using a CLI because we don't have the VS Code extension yet. We're going to run the A4D command. And the first thing you can notice here is it's saying, hey, I don't see a JS meta file in here, so I'm not going to do anything about that because you're asking me to uplift your current JavaScript file. So it's not going to add a meta file. It's not going to do anything. Great, so it's done now. What you can see, if you notice, the code above has actually been filled. So the update and delete has actually been filled with code. The other things, it generated a CSS file to be associated with it, which didn't exist before, and an HTML file too. You can see here that the update and the delete are doing its job. More importantly, it filled all the imports that was missing from there. It actually revamped a bit how we're doing the wire calls to be more working with what the imports are. What we wanted to show you is actually we have another version of this JS file that was reviewed by one of our developers that is actually correct, and we know it's correct. And what we're doing here is we're doing a def between these 2 files to see what is the accuracy of what A4D did.
So just so to clarify, basically what this is doing is making sure that the agent itself is actually doing what we want it to do and what you would expect it to do.
That's totally correct, Greg. So what it's doing is comparing these 2 files, one we already know is correct, with the one that was just generated. So we did a def in here. What you can see from looking at the def is it's mainly semantic differences. So the order of the imports is a bit different. The other thing is it's using into one of the files get record UI. The other option is using the ABEX. Both of them are correct. One of the decision was whether to use ABEX or to use the record UI. Both of them are doing the correct job. The second thing is, as we go down, we'll see some different semantics and how they are calling the fields, like is it capital letter, is it was, so on. Still, the correct semantics are there. Both of these two components are working, and that's mainly what we wanted to show, that AI in here was able to help us basically uplift and finishing some of the to-dos that we didn't want to spend the time doing. And next, Greg is going to talk about our roadmap.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for bearing with us, and I'm super stoked to just get to use that for myself. And we're building so many agents on top of the different things that we can't wait to share with you all. There's too much to list on this screen. It's important to note that we landed a bunch of awesome things as we've kind of hit on with Spring 25. So you're able to use them today. We already hit on, for example, the capability to run local dev for apps. That's in GA. The same sites is in open beta. But we also have the Commerce D2C is GA for server-side rendering, as well as BYO as an open beta. We also landed the base component validation for mobile offline, which Shalina was hitting on some of that. And then also looking at summer 25 as we start to look ahead a little bit. Sites will go GA. ESLint tips for mobile dev will go GA. That was what we were looking at earlier. A4D test case generation. I, again, don't know about you, I hate writing tests, but super powerful and important. So A4D will be generating tests, kind of speeding that up for us. Open beta, the single component I was showing you earlier for local dev. Lightning Out 2.0. I literally cannot wait for this thing to get done. But I'm super stoked that we're doing it in a performant and secure manner on top of LWR. State management, go check this out at the booth. Super exciting. Again, it was one of your top requests. It's in dev preview in summer 25, GA in winter 26. The same with Lightning Out and a plethora of A4D things that I'm sure we will hit on in depth at Dreamforce. So super excited about all of this work. That said, we want to thank you. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for coming. More than happy to. It looks like we have about 8 minutes. More than happy. There's a mic up here. If you have any questions, if you don't feel comfortable asking them here, we'll be at the booth, both mobile and here. Feel free to just come up to the mic if you have it. And then, of course, coffee on us. You've seen this probably 90 times, but please fill this out. This lets them know whether or not we should keep our jobs. And then you can also get coffee. So, all right, go ahead. Take it away. Thank you.
It's pretty exciting to see a couple of zombie beta features finally make it to GA. I was playing with local dev, and I noticed there's no source map capability, so I can't really do live debugging of my JavaScript very easily. Is that going to be...
So actually swing by the booth. We are actually demoing that today.
Okay.
Source maps in general work as long as you're in debug mode within the Lex context. This is where, again, some of our org starts slipping out. It depends on the container you're within. So it's again, swing by the LWC booth.
This was circa the release notes time frame, so maybe, was it not in place yet?
So it's one of those things that I feel like source maps we kind of call out because LWC itself supports source maps, but it depends on the container we're within.
Okay.
So it's probably caveated on that, but we were even hey, let's assume we have a JS debug issue.
Right.
Where in that same Coral one, we set a breakpoint in Chrome. It's basically the unminified code. So it doesn't do a one-to-one with the source map of your actual file, for example. Okay. So you're not seeing what I was showing, my web components.js.
It's still compiled, but not minified.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Hi there. The Lightning Out stuff is really interesting. I've got a lot of Lightning Out all over the place. I'm worried about deprecation of Lightning Out 1. It looks significantly different, especially running it as an iframe. So what are the plans for that? Is it going to keep running as it is? Is it going to be available?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would be surprised how urgently that gets deprecated. My expectation is we would, but it would be a slow, because as we hit on, while it's been in beta, there are a plethora of customers, including ourselves, that are on Lightning Out 1. And I definitely don't want to speak for the PM that is not here. That will be taking into account all the adoption, migration, all those types of things. That will ultimately speak into how quickly that moves. But yeah, typically we're not in a rush. Or is a good example. If there's a lot of stuff out there, we won't necessarily just turn it off.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Hi, you had Lightning TypeScript up there. for it's a developer preview, but no GA. Is that 27?
Yeah. So types. I love this because it's like I feel like we're at the booth again. So TypeScript's in an interesting spot because there's such a broad spectrum of what TypeScript support means. We were actually, Clay, who owns it down at the booth, we were actually talking about, should we just flip TypeScript on to GA? Because LWC already supports it. You can go write your own personal ones, manage packages, deploy them up into your org, and everybody gets the benefit of your type safety. That said, all of the base components, all of Lightning Web Security, all of our libraries are not TypeScript converted. So you don't get the benefit of type safety of all of our first party things. And so basically that's what we're trying to juggle. Additionally, if you're an ISV and you're deploying into a managed package, it likewise isn't supported there. So it's trying to like juggle the where do you consider GA of TypeScript in the compiler versus the entire end-to-end story. And so we're more and more, because somebody had stopped by and was like, yeah, we don't use anything in beta. And was kind of like, yeah, the only thing I need is for my own world. At which point it's like, yeah, we probably shouldn't block GA solely on that. But at the same time, as I'm sure you can imagine, it makes a very inconsistent DX flow where we say it's GA, but all of our stuff hasn't been converted. It can lead to confusion. So that's why it's in that quasi-weird state, because we're reevaluating.
Do you have a roadmap for the conversion, or you're still evaluating?
So we're evaluating it against different priorities because I can speak on behalf of the LWC world. You know how big Salesforce is. So it's one of those things that it's like for Lightning-based components, we could probably put it on the roadmap. For LWC ourselves, we're already TypeScript supported.
Yes, wire adapters.
I was gonna say, there's just a large amount of work that we would need to basically orchestrate a lot of the company to rally around. In our own little world, I would say we do, and it still would benefit everybody. Similar to local dev, every container is not unlocked. So if you have a custom LWC like in a flow, that's not going to HMR. Right now, the builders, they don't work. So it's one of those things that it's like there's that spectrum there. And we do more narrowly have a rough roadmap. I just think we need to clarify what is and isn't going GA, and that messaging is kind of complicated, if that makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sorry for the ambiguous statement. It's just, there's a lot to move there.
Hey, super fast, easy question. How much of this is actually going to be available for GovCloud users?
I'm not aware of anything that we're not
okay.
GovCloud. The only one that I would say is interesting is definitely go ask that question at the A4D talk.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anything unique for mobile? Are you aware of anything restrictions for mobile for GovCloud?
Yeah, I just the current thing that we're doing is that we have to do a lot of things custom because we can't use any app exchange or any of that other stuff. Yeah. So I just always want to make sure when I'm looking at cool features, it's like, am I actually going to be able to use it?
Is there a specific one that you're like, that was super epic?
No, I was just looking at the entire roadmap and just being all like, how much of this is actually going to be available to me at the time that they tell me it's going to be available?
Yeah, the key ones that I would be looking into, because all the LWC things is the A4D ones.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Extension.
Yeah, perfect. How's it going? I was just telling your story.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were debugging. That was perfect. What's up?
All right, bear with me for a second. My primary app is hosted.
Can you speak closer, Mike? I can't really hear you.
Oh, I can hear me. Doesn't that? All right, bear with me for a second. My primary app is in a Visualforce page, in a tab, through Lightning out on the Visualforce page. Am I going to get local dev on that? Does that work? Is there a?
And we are not going to go add it to Visualforce. Like basically what happens when you turn on local dev, just for context, when you turn on local dev, we go into the specific container within Lex and we basically inject a script that connects to the WebSockets. We're not going to go uplift a VF in order to make it so that works, particularly for custom apps. So technically, a lot of Lex is still wrapped in VF, so it is there. The Lightning Out one is interesting because basically what you're actually asking for in the Lightning Out sense would be the Lightning Out LWR container would need to support this same socket as well. So that should be something that we should be able to dig into, but again, it's the layers in between. Again, sorry for the vague answer.
Yeah, and that would, I would assume, be a Lightning Out 2.0 thing, and maybe not.
No, exactly, yeah. Lightning Out 1 is in, it is what it is, and Lightning Out 2.0 is getting all the attention. So yes, it would be Lightning Out too.
That makes sense. Just helping to know how to.
Yeah, and your layering is, I feel like next time we see each other, I mean, right after this, like I feel like you and I should jump on LinkedIn or something. You can start going over some of the architecture diagrams. But
Got some.
Cool. We're at 30 seconds. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the time. There's booths for all of us, so feel free to go hit them up. Thank you all so much. Have a lovely day. Enjoy TDX.